This is a Flame Bougainvillea. Take a look at this. So it has a white flower, then a yellow flower, and the bracts. So a very unique feature of this variety. Right now it's very happy. And the one next to it that's photobombing right now is Variegated Bougainvillea, but this one's called Spring Snow. So that is, of course, a white flower. Now the Mauna Kea, I think that's how it's pronounced. This one's white, but it's kind of, I mean, in my opinion, compared to that other one, Spring Snow, is this is what I would consider cream. And there's the name, Mauna Kea. But yeah, so even in the nursery, whenever I saw, you know, a bigger one, kind of look like that. So this one's gold, and I clipped these branches and it responded really well to the clipping with a bunch of little new growth. That particular branch right there, this one, it was real stringy and long, so I cut it in half and burst with new growth, which is exciting. But the flowers on this gold one, or bracts, start off, you know, really gold and kind of lighten up with age. So it's still pretty to look at. This one I propped up to give it a more full look. Again, cut it right there. A couple of days ago, new growth already starting to grow. But yeah, so I just wanted to compare that white one, Spring Snow, to the Mauna Kea Bougainvillea. Show you the difference in the white. So if you're looking for white, stark white, Spring Snow is what you're looking for. Variegated variety. Well, I haven't heard of a Spring Snow that's not. All right, sweetheart. And then this one is ruby, and it's just really bright red, and you can see it starts off as pink, you know, bracts, and then just turn to red. But very, very pretty. And that dude hanging out in the back, that's a burgundy queen. I ended up cutting off the tips that had a little bit of the flowers left. Propagating those right now, but I wanted to stimulate some new growth so that I could get it to flower. So this guy is in a little bit of a rehab. As you can see, the way I got it from the nursery was with those bamboo stakes, and they were trying to make it upright. And it looked real stringy and thin, not pretty. So kind of took off its restraints and cut it, trying to get it to force new branches out so that it grows out, not necessarily just up. There goes that arrangement. But I started the video with highlighting white flower versus a yellow one, which is really unique. Oh, and since all of these will eventually be a bonsai, I wanted to point out, you know, one of the features I was looking for was the trunks. And as you can see, these have beautiful trunks. And I can just go with the outline that's already there. And of course this season I'm going to let them grow, thicken branches, add new ones so I can take them in new directions. And then this winter I'll trim it out and shape it. But look at this guy, Spring Snow. Oops, I don't even know if I can get in there. Hang on, let me flip this another way. But this one, it's kind of hard to appreciate on camera, I think. But once you're able to study it and all the different angles, all three of these are going to make attractive bonsais whenever they're in their individual pot. Just a little cleaning up here and there, and boom, got it. But yeah, this one and the other variegated one that I have in the front yard, that one's Blueberry Ice. Both of those have really nice. And since I'm doing it, I'll go ahead and explain the thought process behind this. But this is just a supportive branch, get it to grow, a couple of branches, and get them to grow in a particular direction, and I'll hang down, give them some strength going this way. Hopefully that grows up along with all of these. And I'll show you an example, another example, because not only do I tie them, you know, to raise these branches up, you know, I probably need to get something right there. But I stake them with these things. You can't see them from afar unless you know what you're looking at, but it holds up these different branches and trains them. But the whole idea behind this is just to leave that on there temporarily, let the branch thicken, and once it gets enough strength, take off the brace and let it do its thing. But this is my first year doing that, so we'll see how that goes. But I got it from the nursery. It's a little overgrown. I don't want to cut off the flowers, so just dealing with it. Now this one, this is a mixed bougainvillea. It hasn't flowered, you know, the bracts haven't come out and it hasn't flowered this year. But what I did is it was stringy, so I cut it, and you can see the new growth popping out. And you might even be able to see a little bit of color on some of these. Foreshadowing what it might look like. But being able to control it, the growth, I mean, and trim it when I want before it gets flowers on it, so that whenever it does flower, it has flowers deep down in, and I can keep trimming out here, and this will be full of new growth and more flowers, and I can keep it compact, and all the thickening of the branches will be in here instead of way out here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if you want, you know, a particular type of bonsai tree, which I will use these for, you know, a bigger, taller canopy on the bonsais, you know, along with those guys down there. But yeah, so I got a couple of different growing strategies going on, which is why, you know, you end up having so many bonsais, is if you want something to do, you know, as far as a hobby goes, on a continual basis, you're going to need a handful of them to kind of keep yourself busy every weekend. Otherwise, you're looking at trimming something waiting 4 to 6 weeks to have any interaction with it again. And it's hard to leave these things alone whenever they're just growing. So this one was in a pot with a buddy. I took that one out and planted its buddy, its little roommate, pot mate, in the ground, and it didn't respond well. As you can see, this was yesterday. Let me show you what I did. Little patches from weed killers. But yeah, so those 3 right there, Bougainvillea, Bougainvillea, Bougainvillea. But you can see that that one were pot mates, and they're happy, they're cool. But this dude and its pot mate, a little sad. So, but these are rootstock anyways that I'm growing. Put them in the ground because within 1 season, they should probably be about half the size of this one. This one died. This was an in-ground bougainvillea, and that one was an in-ground bougainvillea. Those were both in there for a couple of years. But the new rootstock that I just planted, that I showed you on the other side, will probably get about half that size. Somewhere around the same thickness, maybe not, but I will uproot them towards the end of the year, probably November. Put them in a pot, and then I should have a really thick trunk where I can graft all these different combination of colors. So, for example, having something like Spring Snow, which is white, Mauna Kea, which is cream to white, and then one of these Imperial Tidalite, which is white and pink on the end, having a, you know, multi-tier thing going on, or just a top with all 3 of those colors, having all those variations, which would be nice. And, you know, those ones on the side of the house, they weren't exactly labeled, and they didn't have flowers on them, so I don't know what color they're going to be. From what I understand, it might be a purple and a pink. So if one of them is pink, of course, since Tidalite is pink and white, you know, I use that for that little combination. And then other ones, oh, planted that dude right there too. So it's bougainvillea, but it's all rootstock. I'm gonna uproot them, like I said, in November, and start grafting. With these guys, I'll graft a little bit, but nothing that's gonna probably stay permanent. With all of these, I'm going to be propagating them the next time I trim them. And I already have the setup done for that. But the ones that I propagate are going to go into the ground, again, get thick trunks and grow tall, so I can have big bonsais along with little bonsais and graft some of them. So the ones that are in the ground right now, this is what they look like. So 2 in a pot were the 2 that were struggling, and then 3 in a pot are the 3 that are doing good. But just in case those die, have a little redundancy going on. So I still have rootstock. those were at the right price, about $5 per plant whenever you take into consideration how many plants were in there. You know, a little, well, closer to $4.25 or something like that is what it ended up being per one of those rootstocks. But there you have it.